Okay, so for my guest today on the podcast, we're going a different route naman. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while. I actually met him months back, virtually pa rin, of course, and I'm glad and honored to have him guest for the first time on my podcast. We have JP Campos. He's the founder of Media Commoners, also an executive producer. So JP, welcome, and thank you for your time. How's the new year been like for you?
Hi. Thank you for inviting me. New Year is, there's a few days of like peace, and then it's back to normal again. So parang isang linggo pa lang, like it's
Right.
already been a shit show already. So as expected, I mean, parang ganun naman eh. After the holidays, there's like a moment, like a few days of peace, diba?
Yeah.
And then you're back to the circus.
Did you
So we
expect
are
it to
back in the
be?
circus.
We are, but I didn't think I wasn't expecting this circus. As we're taping this January 7, and so much has happened na today pa lang. I'm sure you've
Yeah.
seen the news in the States. I haven't really read much about it, but it
Yeah.
looks like a Gerard Butler movie already. Like people are going in, storming in, and then
Exactly.
there's riots and everything. Did you expect it to be this crazy this early?
If I'm just a normal person, I probably wouldn't have seen it coming.
Mm-hmm.
But for someone
Like
who follows the news,
I didn't see it. I'm a normal person. Okay, I'll play the normal
yeah,
person role here. Okay.
yeah. But since I've been following the news cycles, it was kind of expected. For example, in the U.S., the some politicians in the U.S., especially from the Democratic side, are referring to this as a civil war, and it kind of is, diba? Because there's
Wow.
a conflict between
Two
Trump
sides.
and the Democrats, and
Yeah.
then Trump with the Congress, Trump with his own party, Trump with
Oh.
Pence. So, and it started late last year after the elections. So it was kind of expected, like the riots that we saw this morning.
Uh-huh.
And I was watching kanina some live streams from CNBC and CNN and ABC, and they were covering it the same way. Um, and they weren't particularly surprised, but
Really?
um, it's still, I guess, shocking because of how it unfolded.
Mm-hmm.
Like the police opening the gates, the barriers to the Capitol themselves. They were the ones who actually opened it and let the rioters
Oh,
come into the Capitol.
wait, really?
So
Isn't it their
yeah,
job to
like
keep them out?
yeah, exactly. So you mga ganun, those kinds of details, you
Okay.
won't see it coming. But like the circumstances, the chaos that happened, it's kind of expected.
Okay.
What else? What else happened? In terms of like the the vaccination issues,
Here in the
it's kind of
Philippines. Or are you talking
yeah,
about globally?
in here in the Philippines.
Okay.
Um, there parang medyo expected na rin siya if you're aware of how socioeconomic standing and political standing in the country
Uh-huh.
plays into privilege, diba? It's kind of expected na parang mauuna talaga yung nasa inner circle
Yeah.
to get their, first dibs
Oh,
on the
but
vaccine.
with the vaccine though, I would want you, Sana, to like help shed some light on this. When we hear about news about the vaccine, we hear the 50% what's it called, like
Efficacy.
efficacy, right, parang
Yeah.
success rate. Whenever I hear those stuff, the vaccine's here, sige kayo muna. Kasi like, di pa tam.
Yeah.
It's like when there's a new iPhone, you don't want to get that new, like you want to wait for the next one until like
Yeah.
okay, kasi the first one probably still have some kinks and stuff. So
Yeah.
with this vaccine, is it safe already? Like, what do you know about this vaccine?
So the iPhone analogy is actually a good
Yeah,
analogy.
thank you.
Like, oh, there's a new iPhone. You wait for the unboxing videos and the
Oo. Okay
reviews on
ba?
YouTube,
Maganda ba
diba?
tong
And the
upgrade?
articles on Mashable, diba? Exactly. So that's actually a good analogy. Um, when it comes to vaccines, it's pretty much like that. So you look for the vaccines with good reviews,
Uh-huh.
which are called peer-reviewed. So when you say peer-reviewed, the data gathered by
Yeah.
the developer, by the laboratory, is reviewed by third-party researchers.
Okay.
So if they have those, for example, Moderna, they said, oh, it's 95% effective. Same with Pfizer, diba? They can say that, but if it's not peer-reviewed, it's still questionable.
Oh, it's like them saying like I have the best one, but you don't really
Yeah,
know. It's just your word
yeah,
against the others.
yeah, exactly. And that is the point of contention with the Chinese developed vaccines because the information are actually just coming from the developers and they aren't peer reviewed yet,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's still being tested in the late stage trial. So it's a very odd move for the vaccination committee here in the Philippines to
Okay.
choose that over the more reliable and
Yeah.
more reliable vaccines with peer-reviewed data.
Yeah.
If you're looking at it from a scientific point of view, it's odd. But then again, vaccination, we've discussed this before in Commoner, there's always political factors that
Yes.
play into the acquisition and the distribution. So,
The-
did we expect that the Philippines, that the government will choose Chinese developed
Yeah,
vaccines? Yeah,
I wasn't shocked. Yeah, with
yeah,
these things, you said that there's a lot of political stuff involved. I feel like not just with vaccines. Like I think everything now that happens, there's always a huge like political agenda behind it. And I think that's inevitable now. And but the way we've seen the government handle the pandemic the past year, I'm not it's not like the bar was high. It's not like I was expecting
yeah,
much.
exactly.
But despite that, would you take this as a good step for the Filipinos? Like, is this, even if it's 50%, even if it's like, bakit yun? It's not the most reliable one. Do you still take this as a positive thing in like our journey with this pandemic?
Um, no, because there are better options. There are
Okay.
better options. Like it's like dating a couple of people and you choose the worst ones.
Yeah.
You choose
Wait,
the worst one.
when
Like
I'm
the ones with more cons,
yeah.
you choose that person over all these other options with more pros.
Yeah. But I'm thinking
Um,
like, is it better than no vaccine at all?
um,
I'm trying to find the silver
yes.
lining
I
here.
would say I would say it's better to get a good vaccine over a vaccine na hindi mo alam kung maganda siya or hindi.
Okay.
Because there are other ways to handle a pandemic.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you look at South Korea, you look at Taiwan, you look at New Zealand, you look at
Mm,
Thailand, you look at Vietnam. They didn't have a vaccine, but they're back to normal now,
yeah.
right? So
You
it's
can
like
just pray.
the vaccine is like it's a good addition. It's like it's the thing that we can hold on for, uh, but it's not really the only solution
Yeah.
to a pandemic.
But I feel
We
like they
still
made
have
it clear eh.
testing.
They made it clear that this is the way. Like
Yeah,
before when it
they
started pa, abang na lang tayo ng vaccine from
uh
China. Ganun pa
yeah,
from the start
they
eh.
drilled the messaging. I think it was in July when when the palace when Malacanang started saying that
Ito
uh
na lang.
we're gonna wait for the vaccine. This is what we're what we're holding out for. Just be
Uh-huh.
patient. Um, so that messaging is strategic in nature because parang parang they're telling people na, oh, whatever we do now, even if we're not performing well, there's gonna be a vaccine, and that's
Okay.
that's actually the solution to this. It is, but it's not the only solution
Yeah, yeah. There's
because
so many more things you can do to
yeah,
solve it.
and there are so many people na parang I there's a latest survey. I haven't checked it na entirely, but there's a large percentage of Filipinos who are not willing to be vaccinated
Yeah. Include
in Metro Manila. In Metro
my
Manila,
parents are part of the
yeah,
next iPhone update na lang din sila.
yeah. Exactly. You just
Well,
wait
but
for
then
the better ones.
yeah, well, okay, but then I think that goes for since well, okay, my family, my parents have the luxury of staying at home, that
Mm.
they can work from home, they can live their lives at home. But I guess at least for the people who need to, who have no choice but to go out, I'd say like it would be different if I had if I needed to go out, if I needed to be exposed to work and stuff, I'd take the iPhone update,
Yeah. And
no matter what it is. Yeah,
if the iPhone is given for free, I mean, a lot of
might as
people will
well.
take it,
Yeah,
diba? And it's
yeah,
rolled out in barangay clinics and all that, and there it's like, you know, logically people will go there kasi
yeah.
nga kailangan nila 'yon.
One can just hope that the implementation and execution is well with those stuff. A
Yeah.
while ago, you mentioned that you weren't surprised with what's happening in the States now. Like you've been following the news, and we're in a new year, but it's not like the problems are new. Like it's not like the problems are
Yeah.
solved just because we moved to a new calendar year. Here in the
Yeah.
Philippines, though, based on what you know and you have followed the news, you're probably the person I know who has followed the news the most, who isn't like, I don't know, a news reporter or something. um, what do you expect to come? Let's just keep it as short as the first quarter of this year here in the Philippines. Are you expecting any big things, or is it gonna be more of what we've been seeing now, like individual cases of like injustice and crime?
As so this year is particularly crucial for us,
Uh-huh.
especially as we approach the
2022.
middle part of the year
Oh,
because
okay.
of the elections. So, and it's going to be more volatile and more divisive as we,
Oh
approach
man.
habang palapit tayo ng palapit sa elections in 2022.
Okay.
Expect more news about harder crackdowns on opposition, on dissenters. It's more
I'm sorry, the centers?
dissenters, like
Ah, oh, the centers, my
those
bad.
who dissent. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
So those news we can expect. In terms of the pandemic, the control will be from the state, diba? Because they're the ones rolling out the testing, they're the ones
Mm-hmm.
rolling out the data. And what we're seeing now is bumababa yung cases, but that is a factor of bumababa yung tests. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So, I can't really say what's gonna happen with that kung magkakaroon tayo ng pataas na surge, especially with the new variant. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's not the new variant isn't gonna give you more symptoms, but it's easier to contract. So now the UK is parang vertical na yung ano nila, yung
Yeah.
surge nila.
Okay.
So nagkakaroon na ng localized lockdowns. Meron na yung variant na yun dito sa Philippines, na-detect na siya earlier this week. But it wasn't the Philippines who detected it. It was Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
They
That there was
detected
a
it
new
na,
strain from Manila.
yeah, from Manila to end up sa Hong Kong. So it's hard to say what's gonna happen. I guess the government is really just waiting for the vaccine to come in.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah.
okay, let's all just get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Para matapos na to, because that is the only, that's the only hope.
Yeah.
Na parang pinanghahawakan talaga nila.
Quickly
So
lang,
what else?
quickly lang on the new strain. I want to get what your opinion lang naman is on this. People can react to it as, oh no, it's a new strain. So it's like a new COVID all over again. Yeah, it's true. It's a new strain. It's magamang hassle siya. But I would, again, try to find the silver lining in this shit show na maybe we're more prepared. Like, when COVID was first introduced to the world, right?
Yeah.
Nobody was wearing masks. Everybody was out. Now, in the Philippines, things are kind of normal again. It's normal to see people out. There's traffic now all the time, but everybody's wearing masks. Everyone's wearing shields.
Yeah.
Everybody, like, all the establishments have already been following the protocols trying to follow the protocols with like the temperature check and the social distancing and everything. So what's your opinion on this new strain? Is it like are we gonna be, or should we be super scared about it?
Okay, so viruses, they really mutate.
Yeah.
It's natural because what it does is it makes copies of itself. So from one person to the other. So it tends to make alterations of itself, the
Yeah.
virus, I mean. So mutations are normal. They're naturally occurring. But there are mutations that are far worse. So that means it's more contagious or
It's more deadly.
it's that is possible, but we are still not seeing that
Okay, we don't know yet.
with COVID-19. So at least probably that's the silver lining of
Yeah.
it, diba? So the
Okay.
UK strain is more contagious. The South African strain
There's two new
is
strains?
the South African strain. So yun yung South African strain has the probability of evading what the vaccines are
Oh,
have have now.
shit. What?
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So pero
Oh man.
hindi pa yun sure.
Di
The
tayo sure.
investigation is still
Okay.
ongoing.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah,
I
okay.
really don't know, like, because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's really, I don't want to say it's super bad, but it
Uh-huh.
is bad. And the more na tumatagal siya at naglulusen yung protocols,
Okay.
people tend to think na, oh, it's getting better. Like, there are less cases now, but then they don't realize that there are less cases because there is less testing. Alam mo
Yeah.
yun? So, yung mga ganung bagay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
With
So,
with the COVID though, I acknowledge that it's a dangerous thought process or mindset to have sometimes. The way I've tried to survive with thinking about the pandemic, because when it first started, it's really, you cannot do anything, you have to stay home. Like, people thought the air outside your, some people still think that the air outside your house is toxic.
it's
But
toxic.
for
Yeah.
me, it's more of like, okay, this isn't going away. You have to learn how to dance with it. You have to learn
Yeah.
how to like
Yeah.
live with it. So I still acknowledge that the pandemic is like, the virus is still there. It's still at large. You know, it's still going around. But we're slowly getting a better understanding of it. This is the first time we're facing a problem this big as a species. But it's still a problem. It's still a challenge. And
Mhm.
you can either face it and learn how to, okay, how am I gonna live my life? How do I like adjust to it? Or you can just be like, okay, I'm just gonna keep waiting until everyone's vaccinated, until everything's okay again, and we don't know
Yeah.
when that's gonna happen.
Yeah. If you wait for everything to be okay and normal again, that's gonna take
Yeah,
like probably half a decade or a
yeah,
decade. And we've seen that before in other pandemics. So I understand that because I've also been parang struggling na I am so tired of staying at home. Like,
yeah,
I know there is a virus and I know I can probably get it. But I also want to go out. Alam mo yun? Like,
yeah.
I
I
want to
also want to
go to
live
the
my life.
mall. I
Yeah,
want to, like, eat in a restaurant. Mga ganon. Mga very burgess na thoughts.
yeah. First world
Um,
problems.
yeah, first world problems. Um, and there's a way to do it. I think there's a way to do it. But it has to be, an effort between people and the
Yeah.
government.
Okay. Well,
Because,
quick. I want to get your opinion on this. Since we're talking about mga burgess first world problems, what is your opinion on people who've already, including myself, gone on vacation? But the thing is to say, like, it's not the best thing to do, obviously, diba? It's not a
yeah.
necessity. Like, are you gonna get to sleep? Are you gonna get to eat your food if you don't go on the vacation? Yeah, you can. But like, if you can find the ways naman, if you can, because there's testing, diba? And then there's all the
Yeah.
protocols and everything. What do you think about how, people are like, the tourism in the Philippines is like barely, if it was dead, now it's like on the ground, but it's breathing again. Like, there is
Yeah.
some life. What do you think about how, the vacation activity of humans these
Honestly, if
days?
you can go on a vacation, good for you. I'm happy for you if you can go on a vacation. And there's a part of me na naiinggit. Like, I
Yeah.
want to go to the beach. I'm a vacation person. Like, alam mo yun, like, I
Yeah.
love going to the beach. I love surfing. I love going up to the
Oh, really?
mountains.
What's your favorite
Yeah.
beach? Quickly lang. Let's just reminisce.
In Luzon, since yun yung lagi ko pinupuntahan for surfing, is Baler and
Ooh.
La Union. So those two
okay.
spots. Before, no mga 2015 pa, La Union. 2015 to 2018
Di pa uso yung La Union nun eh.
probably. Hindi pa uso. Like, yung coffee shop,
Yun lang.
Megatido. Yung El Union, nasa loob pa yun nasa loob pa ng Flotsam and Jetsam.
Oh,
like,
okay.
hindi pa ganun kalaki yung Flotsam and Jetsam. So,
Yeah.
like, konti lang talaga yung mga tao. And lahat kami magkakakilala.
Ooh, you're part of the culture. You're the OG. When it comes to the La Union culture, you know
Hello. Yeah, as in,
Makakamiss.
literally, like, we'd go to La Union on, like, Friday night. As a, like, dalawang vans, ganyan.
Wow,
magkakasama. And
Tas
then stay
weekend.
there until like, weekend lang. And then uwi.
Wow,
and then next weekend ulit.
Yeah.
So, syempre, na-miss ko yung mga ganong bagay. And I also miss seeing my friends, or may mga friends ako na I haven't seen since the start of the pandemic, since March.
Yeah.
Like, it's so difficult because I am a very clingy person. Alam mo yun? Like, I'm emotionally needy.
Yes, I feel you there. I also have I get charged by I am the opposite. How I get energy from other people. Like, people get tired after social gatherings. Me, it's like, nah, I'm living. That's what happens.
Okay, you're an extrovert. Ako lang, parang I need probably like a weekend to
every now
avoid
and then.
people, or maybe 3 days to avoid people in the old times, ganyan, before Corona. So parang ganun lang. I need 3 days to recharge and then I'm back. Like, I can go out to the office and mingle and talk to people, ganyan, and then even go to parties and shit.
How do you satisfy that need though? Like, there's still that need, obviously, to socialize and mingle. How have you been dealing with that in this new normal?
I've started talking to my furniture. No, I was like rearranging my apartment. And now nga, like I told you a while ago, diba, I'm moving to a different place. So I decided that to get a roommate instead. A roommate na high school friend ko. So we have parang 2 different rooms because we're thinking that this is probably gonna go on until end of next year. So might as well have another warm body around.
Yeah.
Parang if I want to be an introvert and seclude myself, I can just stay in my room. But if I need to,
but
if
knowing
I talk to
someone's
someone,
there, I think it's a big deal. I also like emergencies. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Who
Exactly.
knows?
Like, what if something happens to me, or
Gets. Speaking of emergencies, I do want to talk about this. It's recent. Okay, yeah. For those watching, so JP and I initially talked about having this interview in December, and back then I was thinking of talking about the shooting of the mother and the child, but since then there's been another one, so I guess I think we should talk about this one more. It's the case of the pag attendant Christine Dacera. Okay, so you're compared to between both of us, you're the one who's the expert here when it comes to the news, and I'm not 100% sure of what happened. Could you just give a quick summary for those listening? Because even the news, I think the news is pretty confused that they're not really sure what happened, but we know someone was killed. Could you quickly summarize what happened?
Someone died.
Someone died. Sorry, not even killed.
So,
we don't even know.
Yeah, we don't know if she got killed, diba?
Yeah.
So I think it was the first time I heard of it was through friends. I saw them posting about her on their Instagram stories.
Oh, do they know her?
Yeah, they know her. I have friends who are friends with Christine. And then at first I'm like, oh, how did she die? This is a really young girl. She's like 23.
Yeah.
And then I checked her Instagram, and it was parang she posted pa ng December 27, alive and healthy. Parang this is gonna be my last flight for the year and shit like that. So parang, that's kind of eerie, but and then after a few days, doon ako may nakita mga articles about a girl dying in Makati. So, and then I started reading about it, and there weren't a lot of details.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is Christine because yung description is like flight attendant in Makati, ganyan. And then parang the next day nagsulputan na yung iba-ibang versions of the information. Like she was found on a bathtub. There were 3 people who found her. Okay, so yun yung mga contentious na hindi natin alam.
I won't talk muna.
Yeah. Pero I get it why it's confusing because like we don't know if she was killed or did she just die naturally. We don't know if the 3 people are suspects or they just went to the police because like we don't know if they went to the police because they are suspects and they're surrendering or because they want to report
what happened,
the death. Like pablatter nila sa police station. So yung mga ganun details hindi natin alam as part of the public. Even the journalists don't know if ano yung mga detalye because the first-hand information that was coming from the police was muddled, confusing. It was just all statements. Wala silang pinakita sa umpisa na forensic files, walang
like
mga findings,
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, kaya sobrang gulong-gulo yung mga tao. And they started formulating their own theories. Alam mo naman, di ba? Parang when something like that happens, we turn to like forensic experts and investigators and shit. So it started from someone dying, and then the police floated the idea that this was a rape slay case. And that shit is heavy. So the internet exploded because this is a young woman.
That's a hot topic also.
Yeah, it is. So the outrage is something that you would expect in connection to a rape slay case. And this isn't just some, distant person. This is a person that a lot of people on the internet can identify with. Middle class, young,
flight attendant,
pretty, has a stable job.
Yeah, educated.
Parang it hits so close to home. Diba?
Yes.
Like we know someone who could have been Christine Dacera.
In the same position. Yeah.
Yeah. And the circumstances surrounding it, being with 10 men or 11 men, and they being the only girl, it must be so horrible. And then, bigla naglabas, may mga nag-release ng names and ng photos. And then when I saw them, I'm like, are we sure about this being a rape slay case? Because like I can see I've seen some of these people in like on Tinder and like on Bumble.
So wait, sorry. So you can confirm? I don't know this.
Dude.
Because they're gay.
Yeah, and then I started asking one of my friends who's friends with Christine. I'm like, do you know some of these people who have been identified and been named? Like, 6 of them I know personally, and all of them are gay. So for me, who's also gay, I know like like how it happens. Like you gather for a Christmas party or a New Year's party.
Okay.
And all of you are gay, and there's one girl.
Oh, that's chill. That's normal.
Like, that's your, the term is fag hag. That's your fag hag. Diba?
I've never heard this term, fag hag.
Like, that's like the millennial
Wait, sorry.
term for
That's what you call the girl who's with a bunch of gays?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You
learn
learn something every day.
Because,
Okay.
like, girls are most comfortable with gay people.
Yes.
And I have friends who are girls, and they're very much comfortable.
Yeah, you guys can have a sleepover and it's chill.
Yeah. And they'd rather go to a gay bar than to a straight bar because there's like less chances of getting assaulted. So parang nag-start na siya to sound very sketchy. So parang started asking, did the police manipulate information? Is this being used for political purposes because there are politicians who are starting to get involved.
Yeah. There's bounty now. Like,
Yeah.
this is based on hearsay. This is based on family dinner kwentuhan. When I say that there are prizes now, like 100K for the one who gets
Yeah.
to get. Or I heard even Manny Pacquiao was like giving 500,000 to
500,000.
sorry
So
to
may
what
involvement.
to like find them or
Someone
something.
who
Lead them to it.
will lead the police to
That's so
these
vague.
people,
Okay.
and they're not even. There's no warrant of arrest because there's no case. The court dismissed it for being for having insufficient evidence
Okay.
to charge these people. Pero there are still politicians and government officials who are pushing for the rape slay angle.
Oh.
I'm
And
not saying that it's not possible.
yeah.
I'm just saying that there's not enough evidence
We can't
to
say for
conclude
sure.
or to even float that idea. Diba? Because they were the ones the police were the first ones to see the medical legal report, and there was no indication of possible rape or sexual assault. There were lacerations, but the lacerations were healed. There was no penetration. There was no seminal fluid. So,
Oh really? I saw.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You saw a statement. I saw a statement. Everyone else saw a statement that there
had
was
laceration
seminal
and
fluid.
sperm in her genitalia.
Yeah. And
So
it was
that
just
is-
based on
that's a
a
statement.
police officer saying that we found
There's
blah
sperm.
blah blah. Yeah,
Okay.
but
What?
it's not true.
Okay.
So kanina I was listening to Raquel Fortun, who is a forensic expert, a medical forensic expert.
It's the one who said it's too
And-
late.
Yeah, she said it's too late to find out
Yeah.
more, to conduct another autopsy because the body has been tampered with chemicals
And tagal na rin.
you know, matagal na rin siya. So now you don't know what's going to happen. They're probably going to base it simply on circumstantial evidence,
Mhm.
or I really don't know. They probably, I don't know. Knowing the Philippine National Police and their history of tampering with evidence, they are capable of charging
Oh, man.
someone, convicting someone.
And here's where the political agenda can come in. I'm not saying that it's happening now, but like the clues kind of point to it. Like there are now like we said that the elections coming up this year are the senatorial elections, if I'm not mistaken.
Presidential 2022.
No, sorry, the middle of this year.
The middle of this year.
There's nothing.
There's no elections this year.
Yeah, bad citizen.
Yeah, it's 2022. So
sorry.
2019 was the senatorial elections. And
okay.
Yeah.
2022
So what I'm saying
presidential and
kanina,
senatorial.
Yeah. What I'm saying kanina is we're expecting it to get. We're starting in the middle of the year.
That's when they start like campaigning and stuff.
Yeah. Campaigning.
Okay. There
introducing
you go.
names, introducing
Yes.
coalitions,
people up.
introducing partnerships.
Okay. So this case now, this one about of Christine, it's all over the news. Everybody's talking about it. So there could be a chance that there are politicians that are gonna make pasikat now and be all, oh, I'm against this injustice that you are all against. Here's some money to help solve the case or something like that. So that's a possibility also. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. My gosh.
And if you saw the interview with the mom of Christine.
Oh yeah.
She had a list of government officials to thank.
Oh, I didn't see this one.
Like a literal list of like.
While she was crying
sabi niya, yeah, I'm gonna read the mga papasalamatan ko. General ganyan-ganyan, congressman ganyan-ganyan.
No.
Yeah. And then there's another representative of a congressman, of someone from the House of Representatives, who literally gave a paper bag to the mom while the press con is ongoing. I think it was a Kiel's bag. I don't know what's inside. Probably skincare. I don't know.
A gift? Oh my God.
Yeah. To help you po na get through this.
So that your
So
skin is still okay kasi
I
mawawala ka
don't
ng
know.
tulog.
I
My
don't know.
God,
There's
this is...
probably something inside, something
Yeah,
else
yeah,
inside.
yeah.
Pero
Yeah, I
ginamit
get
yung
it, I
Kale's
get it.
paper bag.
Kawawa si
Yeah.
Kills. Kawawa siya.
Yeah, kasi kills yung
Oh.
paper bag eh. So,
Wait, this stuff actually works. Like not like we're talking
it
about it.
does.
It sounds funny na parang, are you kidding me? There's gonna be a list of names out. Like you are the mourning mother of a victim, and the agenda of different people are being pushed through you. But it works
Yeah.
because why would they do this in the first place?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
It was a pretty odd press conference. Um because I feel bad for her. I feel bad for
Yeah.
her. Like I can imagine like, someone else telling my mom that I died, for example. And I can just imagine her pain. Alam mo yun?
Yeah.
But it's almost certain that there is a political side to this that we still haven't identified concretely yet.
Yeah.
Because there are so many names being mentioned na nakikisawsaw
Mm-hmm.
to the investigation. And when that happens, you have powerful people, exerting their influence and their power to the courts, to the police.
Yeah.
It's like it's really trying to make them bend towards something. We don't know what the ending will be just yet. This is a very odd
Yeah.
event that
Yeah.
happened. And I also feel bad for Christine because she is the one getting dragged.
Yeah.
Details of her
And
sex
the
life is
family.
being dragged. Yeah. It's really, it's heartbreaking. I feel particularly bad for Christine and her friends because they're really getting dragged.
Yeah. And it's under
Her
it's
friends have
national
to come
news.
out.
Yeah.
Her friends have to come out publicly, and I know how uncomfortable that is.
Okay,
It's heartbreaking.
last thing I want to ask about this one. We know that sobrang labo ng news. Okay, I did some research on this, and Rappler, Inquirer, and ABS-CBN all have different numbers of suspects. Rappler says there are 12 all in all. Inquirer says there are 11. ABS-CBN there's 10. Now, what you do in Media Commoner is that you present. Let me pull up a line from our interview before. You said that you guys are committed in helping people understand the world better. So what you do is you get these very complicated and not so fun things that happen in the world, then you make it into digestible content that you put it in your Instagram, for example, and
Yeah.
and it's understandable. How do you sift through this information? Because it's hard. Even these very Rappler, Inquirer, ABS, like they're as legit as you can get in the Philippines. So what is your process when it comes to sifting through the information and verifying them?
We really do a lot of cross-referencing kung ano yung sinasabi, because that's the journalistic pursuit, diba? You zero into the truth. It's not what someone said, it's not what he said or what she said. You find the truth. You look
Get
for
as
the
close
truth.
as possible.
Yeah. I personally have the tendency to disregard statements because statements are kind of reductive in nature and they're emotionally charged.
Yes.
And I'm talking about statements from political figures. I look past that and go to the facts of the case, of the story, and then move from the smallest details to the bigger details. Like, for example, in the Christine Dacera case, you have differing number of suspects.
Yeah.
Is identifying the number of suspects really, really important? If your numbers do not agree, is it really important? Kasi kung hindi siya ma-identify ng police, hindi siya ma-identify ng court, hindi siya ma-identify ng media, are you just going to present all of it to the public? Is that helpful?
Mm.
I'm not saying that they are or they're not. I am. These are
That's your
this.
question, line of
Yeah,
questioning.
these are the questions that we ask ourselves.
Okay.
In this particular story, it's also important to look at what went wrong in telling this story. Because as much as this is a criminal case, this is also a very intriguing political story because you have different voices, you have different parties involved, different types of messaging. The public is really engaged in the conversation. How the like what are the things that come into play? So these are the bigger questions na. Um so I want to in this particular story, okay, Christine, I want to see what the things that went wrong, really, from the onset of how the police handled the case when it was presented to them, how the media covered the story, how the public reacted to the story, and maybe by then we'll have, a clearer thread of thought,
Okay.
and so we can avoid the same mistake in the future. Kasi parang, so this is how the police handled it, diba? They presented information that is unverified.
Yeah.
The media, not knowing the real events,
Took their word for it.
took the words of the police and published it, and the public reacted to the published stories. If it if it was just the PNP who said it and they published it in their own pages, the same way they red tagged activists, diba? And the opposition, the public wouldn't have, the public would have been more skeptical. But since it was taken, this information presented by the police was taken as a reliable information by the media, and the media is an institution that the public looks at with a certain
Trust.
regard, respect, trust. They reacted because they thought it was that it's a rape slay case, and it enraged them because a rape slay is enraging. It's parang one of the gravest, violation of a person, especially of a woman. So from my perspective, it's kaya siya intriguing because there are so many factors. There's so many people who messed up. Like from institutions to the media to individual
It's not just
level.
the case, it's how it was handled.
To the netizens. You know what I mean? It's like kaya siya interesting, intriguing, and frustrating.
Sige. Let's look forward na from here. To all the netizens, all the regular Filipinos, what advice would you give for us when it comes to the way we handle news? Kasi now's the first time I actually thought about it. Kasi for me, once Inquirer, once Rappler, ABS, once they say it, it's true. I mean that's as true as I have the effort of figuring out, and the capabilities I have to know if something is true. What this is a potential teaching moment for everyone. So what advice would you give the everyday Filipino when it comes to handling situations like these?
Okay. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. I was in a row with two journalists from ABS-CBN because I said something na parang, this is what happens when the media eats up what the government or officials tell them and
Mm-hmm.
spew it out to the public. This is what happens. There's a ruckus. There's a circus. A circus ensues because you're right. I mean, who else are we gonna trust but the media, diba? Like, who? Saan pa tayo titingin? Saan pa tayo maghahanap ng
The
verified
truth,
information
yeah.
than the media? So I guess for Filipinos, regular Filipinos, we have to be more discerning.
Mm-hmm.
Look at it, parang, is this just a statement or is this factual? Is this
Yeah.
based on factual, scientific, logical document, or was this based on a statement of someone? And as we've been made aware, the past year and then this year, the early days of 2021, everything intersects with politics. You can't you can't isolate yourself
Mm-hmm.
from your politics. And you can, especially for politicians, you can't isolate them from their politics.
Yeah.
Anyone working in the government, higher ranking officials in the government, in the military, in whatever uh, department, there's always politics at play.
Yeah.
So we have to be more discerning as a public. But this is also a learning experience for media institutions. We have to build media resilient more than media literate. Because media literate people, they simply know the role of, for example, the role of television, the role of radio, how to
Okay.
spot fake news and stuff like that. But media resilient people will be more helpful
Okay.
in advancing for the truth and objectivity and for progressing. Media resilient people, they don't just know how to spot fake news, they know how to combat it and they know how to shield other people from it.
Oh,
Kasi
media
tayong lahat,
resiliency. Okay.
lahat kasi tayo meron na tayong sariling channels eh. Di
Mm-hmm.
ba? My channel, I have my own followers,
Yeah.
I have my friends on Facebook, I have followers on Instagram, on Twitter. Now we even have TikTok. I amplify something. I say something that and it goes out to, tens and hundreds of
Yeah.
people. If one from my network or a couple from my network amplifies the same message, exponentially
Oh,
it grows.
okay. Okay. So,
Diba? But if the buck stops sa akin pa lang,
mm-hmm.
if I already know how to stop it and shield others from consuming wrong information, then there's less people who will be, infected
Yeah.
with fake news or
This is
unverified information.
this is a concrete example of how we all have like a responsibility and the power. Like even
Yeah.
if, let's say, even if you didn't have Media Common, or even if I didn't have this podcast, like we still have those people who are part of our lives, our circle, that
Yeah.
see what we post. So even if me posting about this episode isn't going to make as much buzz as an article on a Rappler, obviously,
Yeah.
there is still real power. There is still
Yeah.
real potential for you to either do more good, do more bad, or to
Yeah.
confuse people some more.
Yeah.
Right?
Kaya nga mabenta yung Twitter because you tweet something, there's a chance that it will flop. But there's also a
Okay.
chance that it will go viral. When it goes to viral, it reaches hundreds and thousands of
It's
people.
considered news na.
Yeah, and you don't know when that's gonna happen. Any of your tweets can go viral. Alam mo yun?
Mhm.
So, kaya we have to be, I mean, okay lang ko, like, if it's just, parang nag-tweet ka lang ng joke or whatever, pero if it's news, if it's a sensitive topic, you have to really think. But you can't also
Okay.
blame people for feeling that type of way in this
Yeah.
particular story.
So
Because yun nga eh.
with this, it's not anymore just about staying informed. I remember our Chalk Talks episode last year, and what I would hear a lot is that as citizens, you have the responsibility to stay informed, watch the news, know what's going on. But now there's an additional step. It's not just
Yeah.
looking at the news, it's knowing how to read the news and making sure
Yeah.
na, okay, you don't just take in everything they tell you. You have to think about it and have
Yeah.
your own, you have to have those structures, the way you read the news, the way you consume media before you take it as the absolute truth.
Yeah. And it's kind of sad because yun nga, we regard the media as a certain institution na nire-respeto natin.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not saying that just because of this, like, nabawasan yung, or like, we don't trust
Credibility.
them anymore.
Yeah.
But it makes us, as a public, think of, parang, hindi pala porket lumabas siya sa news. Alam mo yun na yung totoo. Just because they amplified the statement of a person, that doesn't mean they are endorsing the same message, that they're endorsing the same angle. They're just simply, reporting it. And that's another complicated topic, like how journalists should report in this day and age when there's social media. That's entirely really complicated, like so many papers about it.
But I guess the one concrete thing we can get from this experience is that it's a wake-up call that we still trust the media and the news, the reporters, but we should take it with a grain of salt. We should still have the proper way of taking in that information. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Because kasi baka yung journalists are also confused.
Yeah, tao rin naman yung media.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow. There's only so much we can do. We have talked about a lot of sad stuff. I feel like our conversations have been really pretty sad. Kasi, what else is there to talk about? I just want to end it positive. Here we go again with the silver lining. End it on a positive note. You had some posts recently on Media Commoner about lessons from 2020 that we take into 2021. I just want to ask you, what are you looking forward to this year? I'll share first. For 2021, we know that the pandemic is still going on. The problems are still the same. We just turned another year. But for me, I do believe in the power of how everybody's just generally more hopeful. Like, this has been my favorite New Year. In the 24 New Years I have experienced, it's like this is the one where everyone's like, yeah, New Year, let's go, let's get it, let's do. Parang we've been through so much. It's a mix of like, I can handle a lot pala, and I parang game, bring it on. Like I'm ready to handle some more. So, what are you looking forward to this 2021? Oh man.
Alam mo, Anton, after you bombard me with so much like angering thoughts, you're gonna ask me what I'm looking forward to.
Okay, kasi here's my philosophy. There is always gonna be so much bad shit that you're gonna see in your life, and last year and this first week of the year has proven to us that it's more than you can ask for. Like, you don't want there's challenges that you're gonna face, but you didn't know it's gonna be this bad. But at the end of the day, people can look at it as being, irresponsible or parang wow, okay, parang you can be happy parang despite everything. My life philosophy is yes, you have to do it, because if you don't, no one's gonna do it for you. Do you wanna? Yes, there's gonna be lots of bad shit. Do you want to just live a sad life because of the bad stuff, or are you gonna find a way to be happy parang? And still see the. So that's my challenge to you now.
You're so frustratingly optimistic. It's parang, oh my God, Anton is a different person. Like, I'm not.
I feel like I feel like if I read the news as much as you did, probably wouldn't be as optimistic as I am though. And it's still New Year, first week pa lang, so hindi pa na-crush masyado yung spirit ko.
Yeah, but I'm glad to be talking to someone like you because
thank you.
With the amount of of news that I have and the circle that I maintain in Commoner, parang we always talk about, have you seen this? Have you seen that? So yeah, this is very refreshing. So, and that makes me think, like, what am I looking forward to? Well, I'm happy that year was over.
Yeah.
2020 was over. And like you, I realized that, oh my God, I am pretty strong. Like, I can handle a lot of things. I can handle a lot of shit.
And being alone, mga ganon.
Yeah. Alam mo yun, I can handle prolonged isolation pala. And I am much more interesting than I thought. Because now I have time to like explore other things, explore learning new stuff. And I learned so much about myself last year. And this year, probably like I am looking forward to learning more about myself and about the world. Because as much as, like people think of, I know like, I have friends who are like, oh, Japes, thank you for doing this in Commoner, ganyan, ganyan. What they don't know is I am writing and I am doing this because I also want to understand it. And like, writing about it is my way of understanding it. Commoner is probably beneficial for people, but it is also beneficial for me as an individual, as a person. Because I feel a lot smarter than I was before. So I'm looking forward to that, to learning more. I'm looking forward to eating good food.
Okay.
Like
realistic goals. I
realistic
like
goals.
it.
Yeah, like now parang I can have, ramen twice a month again. Yung mga ganun. Like simple, like really simple pleasures.
Yeah.
Hindi ko na kailangan pagtiisan yung mga niluluto ko na subpar. Alam mo yun? Like, meron na mga ganun. What else? I can see my parents again. I can see my siblings and my nephews and nieces. I can visit them now with less limitations in terms of transportation. Alam mo yun? I'm looking forward to my new apartment.
Yes.
So, kahit na stressful siya, I'm doing it. It's New Year pa, di ba? Parang compounded yung excitement ko and like looking forward to it. What else? Can you give me an idea what else I should look forward to?
Running out of
ideas.
No, that's okay. That's okay. If those are the ones, then those are what you're looking forward to.
What if I start dating again? This year. It's been 2 years.
Okay.
It's possible.
Interesting.
Pwede.
Okay.
Alam mo yan? Meron naman na ulit Grab. Makakapag-drive naman ulit.
With the things that you're looking forward to, I relate, and I'm kind of the same. How it's a lot of continuing the things that we did last year, and with that, I know you're a very busy person, so thank you very much again for indulging me and answering all my questions. I do hope we get to do this again, and my bigger hope is that next time we talk, we have better things to talk. I mean, we have better things.
Yeah.
We have more positive things
to talk about.
Yeah. So please continue doing what you do in Commoner. I do get educated and updated with your posts, and I hope you have a better 2021 than 2020.
I will. Thank you, Anton.